What marketing channels does a local business need? Which ones are actually going to pay off and bring foot traffic in versus which ones are just going to take your money?
I'll come tomorrow. I will wait. I will wait.
All right, session 2. Let's talk about marketing channels because there is a lot of information out there about where and how and what to do, and everybody's got all this information about like ways to actually get the word out there and all the things that you're supposed to be doing, and about 85, maybe 90% of them are useless in today's day and age. Let's get into it. All right, session 2. Let's talk about marketing channels because there is a lot of information out there about where and how and what to do, and everybody's got all this information about like ways to actually get the word out there and all the things that you're supposed to be doing, and about 85, maybe 90% of them are useless in today's day and age. Let's get into it. Okay, first and foremost, I'm going to zoom in on this here. Okay, so let's talk about a lot of other marketing people out there, right? Like I see so many different marketers, and I'm sure that they're very, very good at what they do, but they are selling courses or they're talking about how to make your local business stand out online. Okay. And that is not in and of itself inherently bad. I don't want you not to stand out online, but the reason why doing those things is so often just completely a waste of time and money for a local business owner is what we ultimately need them to do when we're thinking about, making money for a brick and mortar business is get them offline and into your location. Okay. So when we think about the channels that people tell you to use, I want you to keep in mind through this whole session, online versus offline, where and when to use them. And the reason why some have more ROI than others is because we lean into buying behaviors. Engaging with content, clicking onto something on social media is not a buying behavior. Scrolling through a menu or signing up for an email list or looking at your newest product drop on your website is a precursor to coming in and experiencing it for themselves. Okay. So I'm going to back up just a little bit. So this is about, how to maximize your marketing ROI. If you don't already know this term, ROI stands for return on investment. And in the context of this session, this is not ROAS, ROAS, which stands for return on ad spend. It is maximizing your return on the time, money, energy, and like runway, I'll call it, to actually getting someone into your physical location so that they can become a customer and you can make money. Okay. So how to maximize your ROI. And we're going to talk about all of the, I will call them traditional marketing methods or most hyped marketing methods, what I will call like traditional knowledge of marketing or like what people were saying to do 5, 10, 15, 20 years ago. And then things that are being very much hyped online, a lot of, different social media channels or marketing programs, things they're telling you to do for a local business, and which ones work and which ones don't work, and how to link them together. That comes later in another session. But like this, we're really diving deep here. I want you to understand how to make your input, your time, money, energy, how much you're spending in all of these places trying to get people into your physical location, which ones are going to give you your best investment. Okay. So when you think about ROI, this is what actually works and what compounds over time so that you can have daily foot traffic multiplied in your business and actually grow and make a profit and make sales. Okay, here we go. So This is where a lot of people spend a lot of their energy, I will say, not always money. We are told to do email, to do text message, to do organic social. I have a lot of people who come in and I speak to them the first time and I say, hey, where are you getting your customers? And they say, well, my Google My Business page. That's the only place people are, coming in from. Well, great. That means that you have a good Google business page, but I want you to think about it. If someone has landed on your Google page, that means that they have already executed a buying behavior. They have done something like Google, shoe shop in XYZ town, or what is the best burger in Denver. And so if you've done your job on that Google page, then they're finding you there and they're coming in. And that is wonderful. But you're probably missing out on most of my business owners, right? Like 10 to 20 times that the number of people who will actually execute that buying behavior and find your Google page don't even know about you yet, aren't even thinking about you. They're defaulting to the other burger place that isn't as good because they don't know about you yet. Okay. So when we think about all these online channels, and this is true of social too, like this is a little bit too deep for this particular masterclass, like how to be seen on social in search. People are now using TikTok, Instagram, Facebook like a search engine. But again, that's a buying behavior. So how do we get them to know about you first? So when we think about online, like if they're looking for information, this is important. It is the number one place that I work with clients on making sure that everyone who should be aware of your business in your local area is in fact aware of your business. But it is not necessarily a sales platform. It is for information. What we need to do is say the right things to them through these channels to get them off their couch and get them in. And as I already mentioned, and again, this will come in a later session, we're going to talk specifically about digital ads. This is where most of my clients spend the majority of their money because we can be super specific about targeting only our VIP customers. We need to make sure that we're talking to people who are going to buy, have the money to buy, are interested in what we're selling, not just everyone in our entire area. I have another session in this course where we talk about customer mindset and how to attract those VIP customers. But the big thing I want you to get here is twofold. When we're thinking about information, things like email, social, Google My Business, this is really, really important. This is the foundation of most business owners' local marketing strategy. Okay, this is how we get new customers in. And for the most part, on average, we are talking about 4 to 5 times ROI. That's the time, money, and energy of everything that you are putting into this space. Okay, so that's email, SMS, organic social, Google My Business, digital ads. For most of my clients, running ads the way that I teach you to, if you ever do work with me more directly and I help set this up for you, we see on ads usually more like 15 to 20 times ROI. Because if you set it right, you can set it and forget it. And ads feed absolutely everything else. We're going to get to that later. Just know that that's coming. So when we think about the internet, we can expect, around 4 to 5 times return on the time, money, and energy that you're investing into this. And if it is going to work to bring people in, it is an informational strategy here. So we want to make sure that they're executing something that is kind of a precursor to them buying from you. Things like looking at your products on your website, looking at your menu, looking at your reviews on Google My Business. These are things that are helping them decide that they actually want to come in. You don't necessarily have to have a website as a brick and mortar business, even in today's day and age, but you do have to have some form of information so that they can be motivated to come in, get off their couch, and actually buy from you. this is where I feel like so many other marketing companies and coaches and people kind of fail local businesses, because we keep talking about, well, just, have your content, like get them on your website and like everything's golden, right? Like, well, cool. Like, how do I get my website to get them into my store? Again, this is another lesson in this series, so make sure you keep watching, keep going through this. But what you need to know, and the way that, the World Wide Web, as we used to say, actually works for a local business in today's day and age, is that we are giving them only the information that they need at that moment to get them to execute a buying behavior, get off their couch, come in and buy from you. Before I exit, the digital aspect of marketing, I want to talk about something else here, because I have a lot of business owners who talk to me about, well, if I just had my website set up for e-commerce, I'd make more money. Maybe. And I have many case studies and examples of doing this after a brick and mortar location has become very successful. So you reach that 1 to 2 million in sales. Adding e-commerce can help skyrocket your business, but it is a completely separate type of marketing and business model. And so it can be really expensive and really dangerous to try to add it if you haven't started making sales yet in your brick and mortar. So, I'm going to touch on this. I have other courses. I have other, resources for people who are trying to launch e-commerce or to add it to a brick and mortar. But it is not a replacement for a marketing strategy that gives people the correct information to get off the couch and come in store. Okay. And part of this is because you'll notice, right? Like our ROI is much lower. This is a good ROI, right? This is literally what you should expect if everything is working perfectly. And that, again, is time, money, energy, right? When I'm talking ROI. Because to really get e-commerce sales, especially for something like a brick and mortar boutique or some sort of health product or like anything like that, to actually get people to buy a physical product online, you need all of these things. You need to have SEO optimization, influencer and affiliate marketing. You need to have very sophisticated email, cart abandons, and retargeting sequences. You need to have your Google AdWords in place. This is beyond just Google My Business, right? Like you need to have actual paid traffic coming through Google AdWords. You need to have product-focused social media ads. So over here, where we're thinking about digital ads just to get people to execute a buying behavior, again, I'm going to get to this later. Keep watching this series. We can run digital ads for $5 a day and have it drive, 50 customers in your door. Over here, every single product that you want to sell, every single product, you need a product-focused social media ad and something on Google AdWords to get people in for that specific product. That is very expensive. You can't just run an awareness ad, the way that you do for a local business that gets someone interested in, executing one of those buying behaviors. You need them coming to you for a specific product. And it's very doable, right? Like I run an e-commerce business as well as a local business myself, but it's a very different model and it is a very different marketing strategy than getting a brick and mortar business to be successful. And so I also want you to think about this, like this is an add-on. It is a great way to scale. It is something that can really help your business. Like I said, once you've reached that like 1 to 2 million, in revenue, this can be a great thing to add in terms of your website, like having it be a place where you make sales. But if you really are trying to get your business to a point where, your general sales and just overall revenue makes sense, you pay yourself, you get out of debt, like all the things that the majority of local business owners I come to are really looking to do, it's actually much easier to utilize 1 or 2 channels to drive them in store. Okay. So this is online and what you can generally expect. And these are just round numbers. These are averages, right? Like based on my clients, based on industry data. But I want you to really think about that. When we're thinking about these digital channels, we do have to put some effort into that to get people off their couch and in store. But this is not where you're going to see your biggest return on investment. This is just the tip of the iceberg, as it were. And this, if you're trying to make sales online, that is a totally separate business. It's like trying to get, a second brick and mortar location up and running when you don't even have the first one working yet. So keep that in mind for how you're thinking about executing strategy. Okay, let's get to the fun stuff. I'm first going to go over here and just touch on this because I also talk to so many business owners. They're spending money on billboards or radio or print ads. They're partnering with local businesses. They're going to networking groups. They're sponsoring everything from the local high school, football team to, community events, like anything like that. If you are personally aligned with these types of, partnerships and organizations, it's a really, really lovely way to have your business be seen by a few more people. But it's really not ever in the experience of like me working with over 1,500 business owners over the past 15 years, this doesn't really drive sales. It can help to just kind of like have your business be top of mind. But 9 out of 10 times, if you're doing stuff like this, if you're doing partnerships and networking, they're also really in need of sales. So they're looking to you. They're not necessarily boosting your business. Now, there is a right way to do this. And again, continue this series because I'm going to show you what that is when we get further along. But if you're looking to something like partnerships, networking, sponsorships to be the backbone of your marketing, it's going to really hurt your business. More often than not, this is just kind of like a heart space, okay? And I don't want to knock that. It can be something really, really cool and you can be known for it, but it's not going to drive sales. Like more often than not, we're looking at less than 1 to 2 times ROI. So you're lucky if you get out what you put in. And in terms of things like events and networking, which sometimes more often than not cost kind of a lot of money, you'll be really lucky to see back your investment in that space. Now, I'm saving this one intentionally I'm going to climb on my soapbox a little bit here. And I've already mentioned it, but it really, really bears repeating. We go back to here and things like billboards and radio, those are spaghetti, okay? That is spraying it to everyone within a, however big your local area is, 10-mile radius, 50-mile radius. Billboards and radio and print ads, they used to be one of the few spaces that consumers were getting information, but what has replaced them? Again, it's the scrolling on the phone, right? And so this can, similar to like an e-commerce strategy, right? Like when I work with a business and they're trying to scale from their first million into the 5 million range, fine, let's add some of these. At that point, I do want absolutely everybody to be really, really, well aware of and see you absolutely everywhere. But if all you have is $500 or $1,000 in your marketing budget, and this is where you're putting it, well, very few people are really going to even notice your business, and you're probably going to be lucky to get your money back. Okay, let's talk about the things that are really fantastic, the compounding strategies that drive daily foot traffic and multiply it for you, okay? So when we think about your business, your in-store business, one of the things outside of making sure that you have a really fantastic messaging strategy and irresistible offer, we're going to get to that. That's session 3. It's coming next. So having something to drive people in store that is not a discount gives you something to market, whether you're talking about online or offline. Okay. So events, they create buzz, they create urgency. It's a reason to come in. Now, it's not just a sale, right? And it's not just like sip and shop Saturday or happy hour. Those things can be useful during times when you are just know that you're going to be slow and you just want some customers. but we don't use events as a way to drive customer behavior. It's so events give us something like really fun to market. They create urgency, they create buzz. And if we're doing them right, if we're doing them, as kind of an extension of the overall store experience, what we are doing is giving customers a reason to come in again and again and again and again, because, you might be their favorite store or their favorite restaurant, but they may or may not want a burger every day of the week, for example. So having something that, is a little special, creates a little bit of buzz or urgency, is a really fantastic place to put your time and energy, as long as you have the other pieces of your marketing compound system in place, okay? The other thing that events help you with is give a reason for your customers to talk about you to other people, okay? So word of mouth, friends and family, or user-generated content. If you can encourage your customers to post about you, now you're increasing this from 4 to 5 ROI to more like 7 to 8 times ROI, and it didn't cost you anything. The other thing that a lot of business owners that I talk to, like, they want returning customers and loyalty, but they're not marketing specifically for it. This is one of the most important, most significant things that you can install in your marketing system to make sure that you have a daily foot traffic multiplier, that this actually continues to increase your foot traffic exponentially, is having your compounding system aimed at getting customers in again and again and again. So we do this with, what I call add-ons. And this is everything from strategic ways to increase your average order value in person, but also making sure that you've got some form of loyalty system in place. Now, this isn't necessarily just like what we think of as traditional loyalty. I'm not talking loyalty points, okay? This is making sure that you understand what your VIP customers want well enough that when you're sending emails or posting on social and you are targeting people who've already bought from you, again, keep watching because I'm going to show you how to do this, that they're continuing to say to themselves, yeah, like, I loved that experience. I need to have that again. And making sure that we are just continuing to have every new customer become somebody who comes back again and again and again. This requires specific systems and marketing, but this is really where your investment starts to compound and where your daily foot traffic starts to multiply. So it's not enough just to get someone to come in once and, buy once and then never come back again, or like maybe come back in 5 years. Like, that doesn't grow a business, right? Like, we've got to really focus on once they're in, now we are compounding every dollar that we spent, every hour that we spent into something that keeps them coming back again and again and again. And we automate this, okay? Again, later lesson, stick with me. I'm going to show you how to build that automated system, but I want you to really understand which channels are the best investments and what you should be thinking about at each different phase of your business, right? So like, if you're just really trying to work on just getting enough sales to get to a place of profit, we need new people to know about you. You can expect to, get 4 or 5 times back what you put into things like digital ads, especially when they're combined with really good, organic socials and Google business pages. Having something to market is of paramount importance. And then the thing that grows your business is making sure that you have a marketing system in place that compounds to keep customers coming back again and again and again and again. So make sure that you like and you follow and click into session 3, where I'm going to show you how we actually start executing on this and get that daily foot traffic multiplier into your business so that you can make sales and you can grow.